Hey guys, it's Weebinian, and in this video I'm going to be making a quick summary of what happened the past week and my analysis of what is happening right now and what will happen in the next coming days. Now, firstly, as a quick summary, I fixed a lot of the borders here in the Kherson region. It's still not clear where the border is here, but there's reports of heavy fighting in the area. Which means that it's not clear for the ones at war either. Only the ones standing in the front line knows where exactly it is, but in general it's somewhere around here. While the Russians are engaged in fighting here towards Mykolaiv and here towards Kryvyi Rih, or however you pronounce that. In the Zaporizhia front, it's pretty silent, mostly just shelling and minor changes in the border potentially, but it's generally just shelling. And the Donetsk front and Bakhmut front, there's been a lot of changes with the Russians advancing everywhere, ordering a general assault, and there's been a lot of progress as they've taken a lot of villages and make significant gains in cities that are heavily fortified. The same as Bakhmut front, they have entered the city and the Ukrainians are falling back to Jezhev Yar with the artillery, and the rest are still staying in Bakhmut, but have fallen behind the river and blown up the bridge. So we'll most likely be seeing a lot of fighting in this area and towards the road up to Bakhmut, where fighting will become into the southern front very soon. As soon as they break through these villages here that aren't confirmed yet. And there are reports of this factory down here being taken by the Russians, which means that Bakhmutsk is going to fall really soon. And the Russians will enter Solidar further and fight in the suburbs. As for around Siversk, it seems that there's heavy fighting here as well. And with how there's heavy fighting on all over the front line, it's most likely that the Ukrainians will have a very difficult time reinforcing all of it, so they'll prioritize some areas and the rest will have to be broken through by the Russians, as the Russians will be able to supply all front lines for all of their losses. In the Isium front, there's heavy fighting as well. Both sides claim to gain more territory. It's unclear where and how, as the fighting is so drastic that there's no clear time to take videos and so on. Here in Kharkiv, there's also heavy fighting. There's been no frontline changes in a long time, and that is mainly because of how the focus isn't here right now. It's mainly in Donbass and the Kherson region. Now, what do I expect for the coming days is the Russians have built up a significant force both around the whole front line, which allows them to now begin a general offensive. My assessment on that is that the Ukrainians are now at a point where they have suffered such heavy losses that the Russians might consider a second general offensive like we saw at the start of the war. There have both been reports of Russian soldiers gathering up here in Belarus as well as in Belgorod, which means that they may start a northern front again, as with the losses of the Kiev government as well as the heavy equipment, it shows that the Ukrainians are in a position where they can only focus heavily on one side and they will not be able to properly defend both. As well as I saw a thread on the casualties of the Russians, where there are 2 or 3 different media that all research how many Russians have died, and their estimates lie around 8,000 to 10,000 at the higher estimate, which would leave about 40,000 casualties. But the main point is that the last 60 days there has been way less casualties on the Russian side, as their doctrine and their strategy has changed to mainly artillery fire, which they are both outgunning and outperforming their Ukrainians in, which allows them to inflict heavy casualties on the Ukrainians while barely taking any themselves. But we also see a lack of casualties on the Ukrainian side, but that is mainly because most of their equipment is gone. The less equipment they have, at a slower rate they will lose it. And they have also had their operational pause, which means that the Russians are mainly well rested, well equipped, and battle hardened by now. While the Ukrainians are less equipped and they have less people, soldiers, who are well trained. But they do have the special forces and the battle hardened people, mainly in the Donbass region. So, depending on which strategies happen, the Ukrainians are at a huge disadvantage now, even bigger than at the start of the war, while the Russians are now in a position where they haven't been stronger in a long time since the fall of the Soviet Union, as the soldiers they have are of such high quality due to the war that they have gained so much experience in, which allows them to essentially defeat the Ukrainians, even though they have their defensive positions that they reinforced for a long time. With how close Avdiivka is to falling and Bakhmut being essentially under such heavy fire that they are forced to pull back without even directly conflicting the Russian forces, it means that the Russians are in a position where very soon we will see fighting on a scale that we haven't seen in a long time, as the Russians will actually engage firsthand and drive into the enemy forces. And this is all based on my analysis, so take it with a grain of salt. However, I am very sure that very soon we will see a great general offensive on every front and may even see a new front opening again. That's all for this video. Make sure to click on the subscribe button. It's at the bottom of the page right next to my name, or it will appear on the screen right now. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and see you all next time.